Well, there are a number of streams that sort of poured into the river. I mean, the one of them was that Jeffrey and I had both had both gotten the tape of a comedian named Tim Allen, and both of us, Jeffrey responded to it, and I responded to it, and we thought it was this guy, this kind of guy stuff was great, and so that was one stream. And he was a deal that was. We were trying to make it the same. We'd already just made the Matt deal. So that was sort of happening simultaneously. And I'd been reading, in my reading, I'd been reading Iron John, which was a book that had come out about the new man. And I read it mostly just as a cultural curiosity because it was making its way up the bestseller list and everything else. But it really struck me that Tim Allen thing and Iron John and this kind of that there was this sort of a wave of men trying to cope with women's liberation in a much more manly way. How do we stay guys?
Post Alan Alda masculinity.
Exactly, and that there was something culturally happening in this attempt to define what a contemporary male was, and comedy's always best when it has its feet in reality, and this is a reality, and so. I took Matt out to lunch and I pitched him, and because he's a pretty literate guy also, and he's a playwright, and we started talking about it, and I pitched him. I can't remember which restaurant it was somewhere in Little Santa Monica, some Italian restaurants, and I pitched him an idea of doing a half hour that was really about a contemporary male, and about this guy that Jeffrey and I just made a deal with, Tim Allen, and would he meet with him, and he was interested. We spent a lot of time talking about philosophical stuff, and he was engaged. And a few weeks later, and Jeffrey was obviously involved in this as well. I view it more like in some ways as a partnership with Jeffrey in some ways, because even though I was driving the train, he was obviously he was a big wheel. And it meant a lot to people to have Jeffrey's approval, and to Matt especially, wanted to be in the feature business, and to Tim Allen, and because Jeffrey controlled the feature gates, he had a lot of pull in any kind of deal that we made. So I used him as much as I could, and I set up a lunch with Matt and his agent, Rick Leeds at the time, and his manager, and Tim. And his manager, and they started talking, and we pitched the idea, and they liked it, and Matt agreed to go and see Tim at his house, and I remember where Tim was living at the time, Minnesota or Pennsylvania, I don't remember where it was, and
Michigan.
Or Michigan. Thank you, Michigan, and he went and he spent like a week with him, and came back and he had the show. And that's really what it was, and he started writing it. I loved it from the beginning. I thought he really hit it, and he got it. He understood it. Matt himself was living a lot of this, and Tim was fantastic. And it was one of these. And ABC was very, very enthusiastic, which they would not keep to for very long. Their enthusiasm waxed and waned fairly heavily. But Stu Bloomberg was a big proponent of the project for a long period of time.